What's going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Road to Glory Career Mode. Today we have episode number 73 for you all to enjoy, and it's going to be a big one. We have got the best player in the world joining us. You'll see that later on in the episode. We also take on two other games, one against Manchester City for the, the Community Shield, and then the second one is up against Inter Milan for the Copa Europe. So yeah, two games to come. Also a bunch of new signings and sales. The first of which comes here, Eric Calero Villa. As you can see, he's only 20 years of age. He's a centre-back from Spain on the free agents. As you always know, guys, I do check the free agents every season to make sure that we aren't missing any, world beaters or really good young players. Well, he's only 20 and he's already 84 rated, which is sensational. So I had to make the signing. You can see there as well, he's very good physically. He's okay in terms of his skill attributes. Maybe just need to improve his stand tackling ever so slightly. But overall, a very, very good signing for a free transfer, 84 rated. I'd definitely take that every single time. So he's worth a bit of money as well, and he's only on about 30k or so per year here, which means because of that signing, Florian Haas looks like he might be leaving the club. We got an offer from Liverpool, which I countered and said I wanted 50 million. In the end, we did keep negotiating with Jurgen Klopp, and I think we set it at about 45. And that was the offer that we'd agreed on with Liverpool to take him out of our hands. So Florian Haas, the man that we signed, looks like he's going to be leaving the club. As I mentioned, I was never set in stone on him. He just really didn't, go that well when he played for us. It kind of never found his feet here, and I think that was down to the height as well of him. So yeah, it's annoying to see him go, but at the same time, I'm glad we are going to get as much money as we do. And as you can see there, he did in fact sell. We've got a lot of other offers that I rejected for certain other players. Alexander-Arnold, one of them. Isaac Martin, another one. Donis, we tried to negotiate with, and we couldn't actually do it. Lukaku was another one that we tried to do, but Real Madrid went into match our valuation. And as you know, although he wants to leave the club, I want to get about £30 million for him. We signed him for 23, so I think he's worth at least 30. So yeah, until somebody comes in with a valuation of Lukaku, he's going nowhere. But as I mentioned, the world's best player is going to join us, and that man is Kylian Mbappe. He had a release clause set in his Real Madrid contract, and although he was worth over £100 million, that release clause was only set at £72 million. So clearly, they hadn't revised his contract in quite a while. So we were going to profit from this by offering him the £72 million to Real Madrid and then giving him a contract. And that was all set in stone. 94 rated Kylian Mbappe joins the club. The world's best player is now here at Crew Alexandria. We've come so far in 8 years, or whatever it is that we've been playing now, 7-8 years, that now we have the world's best player at our club as well. And that's no doubt about that. He is the highest rated player in the game at this stage. And in my opinion, he is going to be probably the world's best player in the future, certainly after his performance yesterday at the World Cup. But nevertheless, with that made the first major signing of the window, £72 million paid. We then got an offer here for Marco Grujic from Southampton. And at this point, I wasn't really looking to sell Grujic. He's played really well for us in this series. But I was thinking in the back of my mind, with this potentially being the last season, I want to get as many, top quality players, go on a bit of a spending spree, if you will. So when I saw the fact that he was only 83 rated, I kind of felt like if we could get £40 million for him, I'd happily let him go. And in the end, we were able to do that. We actually negotiated a deal of 39.3 with Southampton. So Marco Grujic left the club. So now that's Grujic gone. And it's also Florian Haas gone in today's episode for a combined fee of about £75 million. But with the one additional man that we signed, Kylian Mbappe joins the club. Of course, he cost us £72 million. And I actually saw this news article and I had to just laugh. I decided to show you guys it. It said title challenge for Crew Alexandria, which is where it tries to predict where you're going to finish. We were predicted 9th. We've won back-to-back Premier League titles, back-to-back Champions League titles, and we're predicted to finish 9th. What on earth are the media thinking? Honestly, man, if you're a betting man and you were predicted to finish 9th, the odds would be pretty decent. You'd slap 100 quid on that, especially the way Crew have been playing. And now that we have Kylian Mbappe on it, then I don't see why we're not going to win another one. So yeah, I really don't understand how they're predicting us to finish in 9th place. But nevertheless, we do take on Manchester City here for the Community Shield, as I mentioned. Unfortunately, guys, you're going to have to wait until the next game to watch Kylian Mbappe make his debut. There was quite a few players in this team who had already featured for us last season. I think the only new addition to actually play today was Lewis Cook in midfield. Other than that, oh no, tell a lie. Lewis Cook, there was Hirving Lozano, and I think Pulisic as well was the other ones who actually played. So yeah, I guess 3 debuts, but you can't really call it that. It is the Community Shield at the end of the day. So Pulisic was out on one wing, Lozano out on the other, and Calvert-Lewin up front. And it was Dominic Calvert-Lewin that actually scored the opener. Probably won't play for us this season, although he is kind of our top scorer, I guess you could say, of current players that play for me. I just don't think he's going to get that much game time with Griezmann, Mbappe, you know, Fratchak now as well, as Lozano should have put us 2-0 in front. But the Mexican smashed his shot straight at the goalkeeper. Quite frustrating with that finish. And we move into the second half, and we did eventually actually find the second. Calvert-Lewin, great work here. And it was Hirving Lozano who put us 2-0 in front with, at the back post, an easy finish. I've got to say, though, I think Ederson probably should have saved that one. So as it stood, we were 2-0 up, cruising to this victory. Of course, with it being the Community Shield, I really was not bothered in the slightest. I was thinking to myself, even if we lose this one, it is what it is. You know, we lost it last season to Man United, and there I didn't care. But there was time for Manchester City to actually grab a goal themselves. Benjamin Mendy, lovely play, finds Bernardo Silva. Silva to Jesus, back to Mendy. And there wasn't a lot I could have done about it. It was a great move, and it was finished off really, really well. Speaking of Bernardo Silva, he's actually a player that I'm looking at currently. 90 rated. He's also got a release clause. His is £76 million. So, yeah, I might activate it if I get enough money to do so. But then again, I'm not 100% sure where I want to strengthen next, because we've got a great attack. There's players that are like 89 rated who can't even get in our attack. So I don't think we need another striker. But I'm thinking about midfield and defence now, and I think, you know, probably defence is where I'm looking at to strengthen from whatever happens from here on out. But yeah, nice to win the Community Shield, of course. Konsa will get to lift it, being the club captain. He's been able to lift a load of trophies for us in the past. So this is just another one to lift as well and enjoy. But as I mentioned, it's not a major one, and we won't be like reading into this as the fact that, although we've won it, great, we're not going to be thinking though, hey, listen, because we've won this, we need to win everything else. So yeah, it's nice to win another trophy, but it is what it is. Now, though, it's time for the fun part, because we're going to get to see the debut of Kylian Mbappe. Not only his debut, but also the debut of Antoine Griezmann. As we switch to the 4-1-2-1-2, Griezmann and Mbappe start up front, so it's an all-French attacking threat on show today against Inter Milan. Midfield 4 is Evans, Lewis Cook, Zakaria and Barso Villar. And the back 4 is the usual suspects, apart from the fact that we have that new Spaniard in there. So it's Konsa and Villa at the back instead of possibly Tarkowski. So yeah, a strong team, and this one's going to be quite interesting. The bench is out of this world. I think actually I didn't start with Barca Villa. I think actually Rodriguez started this one. Barca Villa's on the bench, yeah, but as I mentioned, the bench is out of this world. Some sensational talent on there, and it is ridiculous how many good players we now have at the club. And speaking of, we should have actually taken the lead early on in this one. Antoine Griezmann's first chance in his new club. He should have scored from the header. It was a good save, but in all honesty, it was straight at the goalkeeper. And then inside the 40th minute, Mbappe causing problems, gets tackled, but it falls to Lewis Cook, brings the ball down brilliantly, and then finds a left-footed shot to be able to find the bottom corner. So Lewis Cook is the man who actually scores the first goal of this one. Not what I was expecting to say. I mean, you can see the tackle came in, it hit Mbappe and found its way to the back post where Cook was, and it actually goes through the defender's legs, which is maybe why the goalkeeper is beaten by it. But a fantastic finish nonetheless. And it wasn't even Kylian Mbappe or Griezmann who would score the opening goal of this one. It fell to Lewis Cook, who joined us on a free. Nice to have him there as well, of course, formerly of Leeds. I have seen him play live as well, you know. So I do know what he's capable of, and I have seen his quality. And hopefully he is going to be important in the future. Maybe for England, you know. He did play as part of that England under-20s World Cup winning squad, so he has tasted victory, and hopefully that'll come in clutch in the future. Another player, though, who has a bright future, Mbappe. Of course, we are into the, I guess, future, you could say, in this series, so we're getting to see what he's capable of right now, and he found his first crew goal 61 minutes into his debut. Put through by Antoine Griezmann in a great move, actually, one-touch pass. The weight of the ball was perfect, and there was Mbappe pouncing on it, firing us into the bottom corner. 2-0 crew. It looked like this was going to be the victory for the English side. And of course, another chance at another trophy in the Copa Europe. But it wasn't all plain sailing. Bruma out wide to this right-hand side. Ashraf finds Zivkovic. He will find its way through to Danilo. Puts a good ball in. And Icardi gives them a lifeline back into the game. But I was so frustrated with this goal because, again, it highlights our weakness from crossing areas. One ball which we failed to deal with. It's put into the back of the net. And Mauro Icardi has a goal. But it should have been dealt with much sooner than this. You know, people not picking up their markers. Konsa's going a bit walkabouts. Wasn't really sure what was happening there. But nevertheless, with 12 minutes left in the game, we were looking to restore that 2-goal advantage. Mbappe cuts inside brilliantly. Finds a pass out to Lewis Cook. His shot is well blocked. But then there was Hirving Lozano off the bench, pouncing on it and firing it into the top corner to beat Alban Lafont for a third time in the game. With 10 minutes left, we'd restored our 2-goal advantage, and that was what we were hoping for. At that point, it was all basically set in stone. I knew for a fact that we could defend it and we would go on to lift the Copa Europe title. And given the circumstances, that's now 2 trophies in our opening 2 games of the season. So not a bad start to what could be the final season here of this series. In terms of league, obviously, because we are waiting for the European Championships with England, and then we'll be playing through them, trying to win them that. And that is everything that we set out to win in the series that we will have won. So if we can win it on that occasion, though. If not, then I have to sim another 4 years and go again. So that'll be quite fun for us to do. Nevertheless, though, that was the result of the game. The 3-1 win. Mbappe with a goal. Lozano with a goal. And Lewis Cook with a finish as well. Very good victory. I was just a little bit disappointed defensively, obviously conceding the goal the way we did. But, of course, as I mentioned, second time in as many games, it's Ezri Konsa who gets to lift another trophy. And you can see as well the numbers I've given to the players. Griezmann's got number 7. Lozano's got 11. Mbappe's on number 10. Fratchak's still wearing that number 9 shirt. Pulisic, I think, has 18, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, I was trying to give them sort of, you know, numbers that were actually making sense and such. Not stupid ones like 45, 46, 47. But hopefully you guys agree with the numbers that I've given to the players. I'm not sure what kind of, you know, part Griezmann's going to play this season because he is 32, 33 now. So he will be declining from here on out, but I'm hoping to get him involved in as much as I possibly can in terms of his performance for this season. That is another trophy in the bag. And that is the end of the games for today's episode. But there is some other stuff to show you before we actually leave. We have the first game of the Premier League, which I actually simmed because I felt like I wanted to see if the boys could actually win the game away from home against a very tough Watford side. So you'll see that result in a moment. And also another sale before we end off the episode. So here is the game against Watford, as I mentioned. But this is where we might be selling another player. Donis. The offer came in for Napoli, which I actually negotiated a deal elsewhere. I can't remember who it was with previously, but it never really cemented to anything. They fell through, couldn't negotiate terms. Well, Napoli, a £28 million deal was what we negotiated with them. Now it's over to Donis to negotiate terms with the Italians because chances are he's not going to play for us. So I think he needs to think about his future as well. And the best way to do that is to try and get game time. And he's not going to get that here. So he probably does need to move on. So we'll see if he does negotiate it. As I mentioned, the game against Watford, it went good. We won it by 1-0. And I'm expecting to be able to sim a few more games, as I said previously, and actually be able to get through the season a bit quicker and still win stuff. You know, with the team we got this season, it's going to be, I wouldn't like to say easy, but we should score goals for fun. That's the part and parcel of it. Nevertheless, that's Donny sold. He did go over to Napoli, which means now we have about £65 million left in the budget. So if you've got any players that you want to join us here at Crew, then do let me know with a comment down below. If not, then I might just go ahead myself and make another signing for 60-odd+ million pounds. But I don't know where I'm going to strengthen just yet. But that's it for today's episode, guys. If you did enjoy it, a like would be greatly appreciated. As always, thank you so much for all of your support on the channel. I really appreciate that as well. If you are new around here and like what you see, the subscribe button is down below. You can click that and follow me on the channel. Alongside that is a notification bell, so you can click that as well and never miss an upload. I'm going to go now, guys, and watch, hopefully, Russia take on Spain and see the result of that one. Enjoy the rest of your day. I might see you again later on with another video. Catch you all soon. Adios.